Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 227. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're having a good week. I have an interesting conversation to bring to the podcast today about getting in the zone when you are practicing Reiki or mediumship or anything spiritual. Really, this will apply to today's conversation. If you are a new listener, welcome. I share my entire journey from episode 1 when I started to develop my mediumship and how it's unfolded over the last 7 years. So if you are interested in the beginning of my journey, I share everything from episode 1. So we're going to start off this week's episode with a few announcements. By the time you're listening to this, my books are open again for appointments. I was in the process of switching systems and my brain is a little mush. I've been taking 3 calendars and putting them into one. This has been something I've been avoiding for quite literally years, but now you can book for September 1st. I am fully booked virtually for August, but you can still see me in person in Banff, Alberta, or I offer all my sessions virtually. If you are listening to this on the day that it releases on July 31st, tomorrow, my Mentees in the Middle program will be opening live to the public on August 1st. The waitlist will get it first, and then if there's any spots left, that will be opening. My Mentees in the Middle is a 12-week one-on-one mentorship program where I help you develop in Reiki, mediumship, or if you're starting or building a business. I'm very good at those 3 things, and I love to help people. This will be the last time that I open this program for 2024. The next time it will open again will be in January. For Reiki trainings, the next Reiki Level 1 is August 24th and 25th. The next Reiki Level 2 is August 10th and 11th. The next Mediumship Practice Circle, if you are a medium looking to practice mediumship, is August 17th. I've been trying to host these monthly, so you can join. August 17th will be the next one. You do have to attend live because you are paired up with a partner and you will give and receive a 20-minute practice reading. But those are all my announcements. Can't believe we're smack dab in the middle of summer. We're coming into August. Back to school is coming back. I do feel like time has been feeling pretty regular. I don't feel like time is flying. I don't feel like it's going too slow. I feel like it's like, yeah, it's been a month of summer. Feels like the end of July, you know? Been enjoying the summertime, the sunshine, doing things, getting out. So every week I go live on Instagram and I have you guys vote for what card deck you want me to use. And this week, for the first time in a long time, 2 card decks tied. So I pulled 1 card from each deck, and I'm not going to read the whole description this week. I'm just going to give you the gist of it. So the first card is from Rebecca Campbell, Work Your Light, and the card is Deep Replenishment. Retreat, Rest, Be Held. Essentially, this card is about how nothing can grow in barren lands, and you're no good to anyone if you're running on empty, and you need to find the time to fill up your own well. I love this reminder, especially halfway through summer. Make sure you are resting. You're not just go, go, go. You're not filling your schedule. You're staring at the clouds. You're sitting out in the sun. You are talking with neighbors. And the second card that I pulled was from the Colette Baron Reid Enchanted Map deck. This card is the Magical Map Shifter. Spirit orchestrates everyone's destiny. And this card is all about being aware of what's coming in and out of your life and the effect it has on you. So, paying attention to people that you meet, relationships that are starting or ending, and what cause they're having to your journey. So, those are the 2 cards this week, the Magical Map Shifter and the Deep Replenishment. If you want to see the cards, you can go on Instagram and check out the live. As a reminder, I only have one Instagram at Medium in the middle. Just be aware of scammers. I will never DM you. I'll never ask you for money. And I will leave all the links you need for my Instagram, courses, to book with me, all down below in the show notes. So today's episode is inspired by a question that I got a little while ago that I've been meaning to make an episode on. So I feel like now is a fitting time to discuss it. And the question was, my husband and I have traveled to Hawaii for vacation a couple weeks ago, and while we were there, I was practicing my Reiki, and I had a much stronger connection to the flow than I do when I'm at home. It was so neat and also a bit startling. I've been thinking on why/how this may have happened. Since returning home, my connection feels, quote, back to normal. I realized that being on vacation, I was 100% definitely more relaxed. I was kids-free. I had no stress. And that could have played a big part in my ability to clear my mind and have a better connection to Reiki. If you have any insight on how much or little a location can affect a person's Reiki experience, I'd love to hear it. So I think this is a really good conversation to have around 2 main things. Number 1, does location matter? And number 2, exactly what the question said is that you were more relaxed, kids-free, no stress. It was kind of the perfect scenario, not necessarily tied to Hawaii. So I have a few things to say about this that hopefully will be helpful for you if you're feeling like you can't get in the zone very easily, or if you can only get in the zone in certain areas. So I completely don't think that this had anything to do with Hawaii. I do believe it had everything to do with having the time to practice, being on vacation, being relaxed, having no stress, having no kids running around making noise, not having laundry on your mind, dishes on your mind, work tomorrow on your mind. And what we're ultimately doing in our everyday life is trying to master getting into our, let's quote, vacation mind state. And that's not easy. That is the hardest part of getting to that nothingness. But if you can practice that, that's what's going to make you very successful. So I have a few analogies that might help you for this. Number 1 is, would you learn to ride a bike in the rain? Well, no, you would probably want to learn to ride a bike on a nice day when it's not too hot, not too cold. You don't want to be sweating on the bike, but you also want to be drenched in rain. So you would learn to ride a bike in the most perfect conditions. When it's a nice day, the ground is dry, you have your helmet, you have everything you need. Now, when you're more experienced, can you ride your bike in the rain? Absolutely. But would you put a tricycle first day on the bike out in the rain? No. So we want our learning experiences to be as curated as possible. So it will feel easier to ride a bike on a perfect, nice little day than it will to be in the rain. So when you are practicing, you want to try to create those perfect days as much as possible. So we want the nice, calm environment. We want the no stress. We don't want the kids at home. We don't want all of those things so that it's easier for you. Eventually, you'll be driving your bike in the rain, no problem. Another thing you can think about is when you go to bake cookies. Would you bake cookies without having all the ingredients? Would you bake cookies when you need to go to the store for butter? Well, no, that makes it harder when you have to go to the store for butter, you have to borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor, you forgot you needed eggs. It's a lot easier to bake cookies when you have all of your ingredients laid out on the counter ready to go. That's the easiest way to bake cookies. So when we're practicing, we want to set ourselves up for success as much as possible. And then you will learn to deal with, oh no, I forgot eggs. Let me go ask my neighbor. Let me run to the store. Oh no, it's raining. I can still ride my bike. Obviously, when we're practicing, we don't recommend riding your bike in the rain, but it's totally possible. So I also want to tell another story that I had one of my mentees tell me, and she was telling me about how she can only connect to her guides when she goes on her walks. And I was like, no, that's not the only time you can connect with your guides. Your guides aren't on vacation, and then as soon as you go on a walk, they're like, here we are. It's just the easiest time for you to connect with your guides is when you're on a walk. So what do we need to do if we want to talk to our guides when we're at home, when we're at the mall, when we're at work? You need to create the same environment as you do when you're on your walk. So maybe when you're on your walk, you don't bring your phone, you're grounded, you're out in nature, you're breathing, you're paying attention, you're only focused on yourself, your mind is clear. All those things are possible to do without being on a walk. You just are curating the perfect situation for it to be easiest for you to connect with your guides. Again, this is the bright sunny day. When you're out for a walk, it's easy to connect with your guides. When you're laying in bed at home, you can still connect with your guides. So we don't want to start putting limitations on ourselves about when we can or cannot connect. I want you to think about what is the easiest for you. It's easiest for you to connect with your guides when you're on a walk. That doesn't make it the only time you can connect with your guides. It's easiest for you to tune into your intuition when you're in the mountains. That doesn't mean it's the only time you can tune into your intuition. It's easiest for you to make cookies when you have all the ingredients in your house. That doesn't mean you can't make cookies. That just means you have to maybe go buy eggs, go borrow chocolate chips, go to the store, do the dishes to wash the pan, whatever you have to do to be prepared. So just be very mindful about if you do have limiting beliefs about when you can connect with your guides, practice Reiki, and what you're doing is you're just practicing and practicing and practicing until it doesn't matter whether or not it's raining, you can ride your bike. It doesn't matter whether or not you're on a walk, you can still connect with your guides. It doesn't matter whether or not you have the ingredients to make cookies. You know the recipe like the back of your hand. You know exactly what you need. You'll get what you need in order to make the cookies. So the second part of this that I want to add is that you can use your best case scenarios to support you in when your scenarios aren't perfect. So when you are stressed and when the kids are home and you are finding a hard time focusing or connecting, what are some things you can do that can bring you back to that neutral state of mind? So some people use breath and breath work. Some people use certain sounds or sage or smells. I personally like to use the same playlist. So I have trained my brain that every time I do Reiki, I play the same playlist. So when the playlist plays, my brain instantly goes to Reiki brain because I have been playing the same playlist for 7 years every single time I do Reiki. So my brain knows playlist means Reiki. Playlist means nothingness. Playlist means I think about nothing. My mind goes absolutely blank. So I can use this playlist when it's noisy in the house. I can use this playlist when I'm stressed. I can use this playlist when, for example, the kids are home. Put the playlist in your ears, wear headphones, put the music louder, do whatever you have to do to get into that zone. Is it going to be the easiest time to do it? No. But can you still do it? Yes. And I just really hate when I hear that people feel they can only connect when they're in Hawaii. They can only talk to their guides when they're on a walk. That makes me sad because it's just so not true. That's the easiest time. Maybe, yes, but that's not the only time. And what you're doing is you're just learning how to curate those perfect scenarios when it's not perfect. And my only last comment would be to not get discouraged about how strong it was in Hawaii and then how back to normal it feels now that you're home. That was an expansion for you. That was showing you what's possible when everything is perfect. How delicious your cookies can be when everything works out well. Cookies are still delicious, but when everything goes perfect, you're like, oh, this is the perfectly cooked cookie. So don't feel discouraged if you feel like you, quote unquote, have a stronger connection when you're walking, or you have a stronger connection when you're in Hawaii, know that that's your possibility and that you can always recreate that. Just might be a little bit harder when you're not walking, when you're not in Hawaii. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Getting your mind to that clear, blank, no stress, no kids, more relaxed, perfect feeling is the hardest part of spirituality. If you can master that blank mind, everything will be easy. Reiki, mediumship, psychic, intuition. You need to learn how to quiet the noise. You need to learn how to not think about eggs, dishes, laundry, picking up the kids, vacuuming, what I need to make dinner, whatever those thoughts that come into your head. If you practice nothingness, that will give you the most reward. So I always say that I do this when I clean. So when I need nothingness, I clean. If I'm having a very busy brain, I start vacuuming. I vacuum my house every single day almost. If I'm really having a day that I need to focus, I pick up the vacuum twice. I vacuum my house 3 times. But that doesn't mean I need the vacuum in order to connect. It just means that vacuuming and dishes are an easy way for me. And when I'm vacuuming and doing dishes, that's when I'm practicing that neutral state of mind. So when I want to connect with my guides, I know that state because I can get into it when I'm vacuuming and doing dishes. You know that state because you get into it when you're walking. You know that state because you got into it when you were in Hawaii. All these things are possible. You are just practicing the easiest way to get back to that. So I thought that was a really good question, and I'm sure lots of you feel that way. So there will always be our perfect case scenario, but remember to use that as inspiration and knowing that you can curate these situations. But yeah, it's a little bit harder when the kids are home. It's harder when you're stressed out. It's harder when you didn't get a good night's sleep last night. And that's all okay, but we want to know that it's possible for us. These aren't limitations. So I hope that's helpful. Send this maybe to someone who needs to hear it and share the podcast. Next week is the podcast's 5th birthday. Oh my gosh. So it'll be a special episode next week for my 5th birthday. Very, very special, celebrating 5 years. So that'll be it for next week. If you haven't already, please follow me on Instagram and subscribe to this podcast. I release new episodes every Wednesday. I will leave all the links you need down below to register for a Reiki course, to look at my mentorship, to sign up for the Mediumship Practice Circle, to book with me now that my books are open again. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye, everybody.